Hello everyone! In my last video, I showed you a solution for highlighting points in the chart by clicking a single cell in a table. In this video, you will see an additional requirement that the table should have a filter, meaning that there could be filtered out hidden rows in the table. For example, if I filter out brands B, C, and D, and then click on brand G, then it also should get highlighted. If I click on white, the 2 points should be highlighted. So despite there being a filter, the highlighting of the points I click on should be correct. Let's see how to integrate this additional requirement into the solution. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to make some changes on the sheet itself. Because the table is going to have a filter, I would still like the pieces of the pie chart to add up to 100% at every selection. So in order to achieve this, I'm going to change the formula for calculating shares and exchange sum, which is a function which considers all cells, for aggregate. An aggregate can be set to consider visible cells only. I will choose aggregate number 9, which is the sum. Specify to ignore hidden rows, number 5, and the range can stay as it is. So now, if I choose white chocolate, for example, then the shares add up to 100%. Let's also add a slicer. I will choose brands this time. Let's increase the number of columns to 7. So I need the slicer to filter the table faster and easier. Let's increase the width to fit all the brand names. Choose multi-select, and under slicer settings, I don't want the header to be displayed. Please remember that in order to apply a slicer, the range of data has to be converted to a table first. This can be done by clicking in the range and pressing Ctrl and T together. If I deselect the brands B and D as example, and now click on brand G, the macro will show a problem. This is because the macro is not ignoring the hidden filtered out cells and needs to be changed to meet this new requirement. Also, if I sort the brands, again the macro shows a problem. And this is because when I'm sorting, I'm making a selection, so the macro is triggered. But at the same time, this is not the type of selection that can feed the macro with useful information. So let's open the Visual Basic Editor with key combination Alt and F11. Go to Sheet 1, where the macro from a previous video is, and change some lines. In case you haven't seen the previous video or don't remember it, I would like to walk you briefly through the lines of the code. So our variables are combo chart, which is the chart containing column series and line series, the pie chart, which is the chart to the left with its pie series. R is the range of clickable cells. So if a cell in this range gets clicked, then the highlighting gets activated in the chart, and if a cell outside of the range gets clicked, then nothing happens. Cell was necessary to loop through R, and K was the integer necessary for calculating the point numbers. Combo chart was set to be chart 3 on the active sheet, So in case you don't remember, we need to get back to the sheet. Select the chart and we can see there's chart 3. The column series is series 1. And line series is series 2 of this chart. The pie chart is chart 1. And its series is series 1. R was defined as the range of cells starting from A15 and ending with the cell whose row and column were defined as row and column of the last non-blank cells when going down and to the right of cell A15. K was the row number of A15 minus 1, so the row number of the first cell of the clickable range minus 1. In the initial stage, the macro cleared all previous changes and set the column series to have no data labels, to be colored blue, the line series to have no markers, and the pie series to have no data labels and no explosion. If the user selected only one cell and this cell was in range R, then the loop got started. For each cell in R, if the value of the cell equal to the value of the selected cell, then the corresponding point of the column series got colored with this RGB combination and got a data label. To calculate the point number, the row number of cell was taken and K was subtracted from it, meaning that to calculate the point number, the number of rows had to be calculated from cell to the first cell of the clickable range. The equivalent point of the line series got circled as a marker with size 8 and background color and foreground color determined by this RGB combination. The equivalent point of the pie series got an explosion of 20% and a data label. After this, and if, next cell, again and if, and end of the macro. Now let's make the changes necessary for considering the additional requirement regarding filtered out hidden cells. I'm going to declare an extra variable f as range. And I will set f to equal the first cell of the clickable range. So range A15. And in R, I'm going to exchange A15 for F. And range A15 also for F. I'm going to delete K because I will define it later. And I will get to the first if condition. If the user decides to sort the table, then during the sorting, the whole range will get selected. In this way, the target will no longer be a single cell, but will be the whole range, and the macro will not be able to pick up the target value. To account for this, I will change selection count to target count, and so the loop will only start if one single cell is selected and it is from the range R. Also, because the table now has filtered out hidden rows, the second if condition also has to be changed. And so the cell value not only has to equal the value of the selected cell, but at the same time, its entire row has to be visible. So cell entire row hidden has to be set to false. Then, K will be calculated using the following function, namely the worksheet function aggregate. Number 3 is count A. It counts all cells with any type of information, so all cells that are not empty, meaning that it also counts text. Number 5 to ignore hidden rows, and the range will be cells starting from F to the cell whose row number equals to row of cell and column number is a column number of F. So K is the point number itself. With this in mind, let's change the point referencing to K for all the series. And that's it. Now let's test. If I select brand G, then the correct data point gets highlighted. If I select other brands, they also get highlighted properly. If I choose white chocolate, then the 3 visible data points get highlighted. If I select 2 cells, then nothing happens. And if I select a cell outside of the table, also nothing happens. If I sort the sales in descending order, the macro continues working. If you would like to use this code, then please adapt the highlighted lines to your own sheet. You will have to change the name of the sheet on which the charts are, the numbers of the charts, the numbers of the series in the charts, and the first cell of the clickable range. Also, the macro has to be embedded into the sheet on which the cells are being selected. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more practical spreadsheet solutions.